next to you on stage when you performed Riding with Jim.
Oh man.
And I never get tired of that poem. I obviously have a really close relationship with my father. I have a close relationship with my sons.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't.
Right.
Some people have troubled relationships, and I think, you know, you and I have seen the reaction, you know, that spectrum of reactions from people in the audience, but somehow the poem Riding with Jim, because it's written so well, even though it's so personal, kind of helps people connect to their father.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The common denominator is we all have fathers.
Right.
Yeah. Like you said, not everybody has that relationship with their fathers that perhaps we have or had and such. But I've come off stage and met a lady one time who had just lost her father after that poem, and she couldn't even talk. She couldn't even talk to me, and all I could do is just hug her.
Yeah, and there I am, you know, when we do that on stage at a Brenn and Andy show, I'm trying to sing through it.
Well, let me tell you the problem I have on stage with that poem and song combination. We usually do it with Spirit Rider. And my problem is I start to listen to the words of Spirit Rider, waiting for it to be my turn, you know, and then I get caught up in those words, and then all of a sudden it's a pretty good shock and jolt to me. Think, oh, I got to jump in here now, and I've got to, start reciting this poem. But I feel the same way about the lyrics of Spirit Rider, and I have a really hard time not sitting and listening to that deeply and unemotionally while I'm on stage.
Yeah. You had the opportunity to travel alongside your dad, who was a genuine article, Great Basin horseshoer, Great Basin cowpoke.
Yeah.
Kind of in an era that I know I wish I could have lived in.
Oh, he showed me the old...
You know, the song that Brenn has that goes with this has quite a story to it also. Why don't you fill them in on the story with this song?
It was a beautiful fall day about this time of year. I was headed up Weber Canyon and got a call from old Simi Weston. Simi's one of my cowboy heroes. He's about 10 years younger than me, and one of the best bronc riders, best all-around cowboys I'll ever know. He lives in Woodruff now with his wife and his kids. He said he's kind of a crack in his voice. I don't think Simi's ever had a bad day, but he says, we've had a bad day here. And he says Terrell was killed. He was coming home. That's his cousin. And 8 brothers, 8 of the Westons that ranch there in Rich County. And this is the oldest brother's youngest son, rolled his truck. And he said, would you come up and sing at the funeral? And so there I went to Randolph, to the church house there, and I played at the funeral. And this 8 brothers ranch family, every single one of them could be the moral home. And they're just the best looking, they're just a bunch of good hands and good people. And anyway, I went back a few weeks later. Terrell's older brother was having a rough time. He was his best friend, and Cole, and he was having a rough time with his brother's passing. Anyway, I headed out from their house there, headed north towards the Crawford Mountains, and there was a big gray line of snow clouds stretching across the sky, and a big white swoosh of snow coming down. It looked like a horse and rider. And by the time I got back to Hooper, I had this song written. We thank you guys so much for being here tonight. It's been our privilege to be here with you. Thank you, Andy. I know you can't imagine riding on, carrying on this wrench on your own. How the winds of change are blowing, the winter is setting in, and you look like you have lost your best friend. Feeling like good times are all gone. Wonder if it's time for moving on. But the spirit riders come on a white horse through the sky. Keep your horse's head and run. Brother, don't ever ask me why. I'm the angel on your shoulder. I'll be riding alongside you. You'll always be my brother. Now I'm your spirit rider.
Well, it's been years now, and I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to rewrite the end. I fret and I ponder. Most often I wonder if I'll ever be as good a cowboy as my friend. See, friends come and go, as does every foe, but certain people touch your lives forever. Jim was a horseman. Unlike most men and a better farrier I've never seen ever. Well, he was old and grizzled, and his blood sizzled if I wasn't paying attention to his advice. He taught me all that he could recall about horses and shoeing at least twice. Of course, I was one to never be outdone. I was full of myself, cocky and young. I knew it all back then, but that was when my wits weren't near as sharp as my tongue. So I did my own thing, never really wondering what was missing in my life back then. And it wasn't until later my ego would crater and I'd become teachable again. My oats I kept sowing, not ever knowing that God had sent Jim to make me a better man. So he took him away one cold spring day. And I was left alone to do the best that I can. Well, I knew that I couldn't break down and cry or let others see how deeply I was hurt. I felt ashamed, and myself I blamed for this old cowboy that lay cold in the dirt. See, many times he tried before the day he died to teach me what he had learned from life's travails. But I didn't take time. My life was mine. What could I possibly learn from his stories and tales? Well, now I feel cheated for the way that I treated riding with that old cowboy as a chore. And still I pray that somehow, some way, I could go riding with Jim just once more. And periodically I am given that chance, while still living, to sit horseback once again with Jim. When I fall into a deep, almost comatose sleep, God allows a brief rendezvous with him. Now, I know it's just a dream, but to me it sure seems just as real as the first day we rode together. We don't ever talk, we just ride and walk, enjoying the Quakies, the sage, and each other. We ride up Fall Creek, where the willows are real thick, and that untouched water cascades down. A doe and a fawn bound effortlessly on. We're partnered up and we're miles from town. And then the sun peeks over and spots this old drover and illuminates his face under his hat. And his peaceful look, like the cover of a book, shows his contentment for where he is at. See, he is astride Big Joe. We all know that big old steed was his favorite mount, with his rawhide hack and his slicker on back. We ride as cows and blessings we can. And as the dew burns off, I hear a cow cough, and Jim sets out for the top of a draw. I tag alongside, our horses in stride. We gather that road without a flaw. We ride all day, gathering mavericks and strays. And I know any minute this is going to end. So I hold on tight. This couldn't be more right. But the home corral is just around the bend. Now, I don't want to wake. But as the new day breaks, the stock's waiting for me in the morning light. But first, I thank God and I give Jim a nod for that wonderful ride we took that night. I know it don't sound much like a vision or such, but it helps till the next visit to be had. And I'm proud to say, in a boastful kind of way, that old cowboy was my mentor and my dad. See, I took much for granted, but the seed he planted, and now I cherish each and every ride. My heart is still hurting, but this I am certain. Jim and Big Joe are waiting on the other side.
No reason you can't wait. You can hear my voice again. Just listen to the cold wind wind. I'm a blue sky in the summer. I'm the colors of the fall. I'm the horses that you love most of all. And if you really want to feel me close to you, go and do the things we love to do. 'Cause the spirit riders come on the white horse through the sky. Give your horse his head and run. Brother, don't ever ask why. I'm the angel on your shoulder. I'll be riding alongside you. You'll always be my brother. Now I'm your spirit rider. So carry on this family brand. And if you ever need a hand, spirit of riders coming on a white horse through the sky. Give your horse his head and run. Brother, don't ever ask why. I'm the angel on your shoulder. I'll be riding alongside you. You'll always be my brother. And I'm spirit rider. Spirit rider. Thank you so much.